everyone, and welcome back to Meet the Data Leader. And today we have with us Keren Ben Zvi. She is the Chief Data Officer at PayU, recently acquired by Rapid. Thank you so much for being here, Keren, and I hope you can introduce yourself a little bit.
Right. So thanks for having me. This is what I've been doing for the last 20 years. I'm taking data to the next level for 20 years time, being in any kind of position and sectors that you can even imagine, because 20 years, it's a quite dinosaur. So today I'm also lecturing about data A/B testing and distributed databases in the academy. Speaking about data in conferences and things, really like to spread the rumor of the data and to share some thoughts and best practices of how actually we can do that better, because we're always chasing for technology and how we can actually apply and make things more efficient. So yeah, 20 years. I maybe I will add that I'm also in the women's sector. I really like to contribute for let's say young women that just graduated the university, and you know how much it's would say like challenge to get the first job. So we have a special program for them that we established called the 30 hours. I'm translating because it's in Hebrew. 30 hours is just like, how can you make in 30 hours a nice POC that you can actually speak about in the first interview and so on. It actually leverage the women's sector and give them, I think, maybe better opportunity to share what they know and to have some hands-on practice. I'm also in the women's sector with the Women in the Industry forum, and I like data. That's my thing.
The first question I want to ask you today is a more strategic and leadership question. How do you ensure your data initiatives align with your company overall business, and how do you measure it? What are the success criteria and impact you're measuring?
Yeah, it's a very good point, because data always get the flavor of where you should where you place that, right? I mean, data with no consumer behind the scene worth nothing, basically. It's just logs and numbers with no KPIs and something tangible that you can actually take to the next stage. So basically, what we do, we see the ecosystem. It's very important to understand the DNA of the company, and believe it or not, basically from one sector. I was working for edtech for many years, social media and so on, and now I'm working in fintech, like fintech as a service, like Rapid likes to introduce that, and it's different, right? I mean, you first and foremost need to understand what are the KPIs, how the business being measured, and to go hand in hand with the business. So basically, I would say to align the language, because working like us in a global company, we have operation across the platform and across across the globe, because we are working in CEE, Central and Eastern Europe, Latin America, Africa. We work in Latin America. It's quite different the way they are measuring things. And even if they call one metric the same, like TPV, it means different stages of the funnel. It's not so you need to understand specifically what do they mean, with chargebacks, without chargebacks, what exactly is it's the point in the funnel that they are like meaning to, and actually to put everything in a nice, I call it data catalog. I built something internally. Today we have a shelf product called Atlan. It's really, really, really helping us to make I would say the unification, the consolidation of the language inside the company. And then if you have a meeting, so you make sure that everyone will speak the same language. So if you ask, like, for the first question that you gave, how data can be aligned with the strategy, that was I would say, for like the main priority for me, because the rest will follow. I can tell you also that we have OKRs, right? I mean, this is like our goals, and we also measuring the roadmap of the product team, because if they say we gotta apply new payment method, and by that we can actually gain this amount of money, we need to see that they don't underestimate that, they don't overestimate that. We need to make sure, because next time when they say a number, We want to buy in. We want actually everyone to understand that this is the right number and to create the balance. So strategy for us goes hand in hand with the business. I'm always saying that, but I will say that again. We like to connect data with people, right? So for me, the first obstacle that I had is actually to speak with each and every stakeholders to understand what are the gaps in the issue that he's experiencing today in the data. For example, in our operation, they didn't have metrics at all that are unified exactly to what they need. So we put critical path in data. Those are the descriptive analytics. This is the layer that everyone are like taking data from. This is the descriptive analytics. And from here, we can actually grow to a diagnostic analytics and then prediction and so on. But to put all the basic inside, this is the strategy. We have things that you don't really say, right? I mean, it means that if the data, if we had an outage of the data 3-4 years ago, no one cares, right?
Yeah.
Today, even 5 minutes, 4 minutes without data, something is broken. This like it's been escalated super quickly, and we must fix that, right? I mean, we are dropping the keyboards and run to fix that, especially if it touches the critical path that I just mentioned. This is number one. So we have like internal things that we don't really articulating, it's just between us, but it's a very good point of view for us as data people, I mean, my department, that we are amazed every time again that we see like how much people are striving to get their data and they're eager to understand. And if they don't have it, it looks like they're addicted. So this is number one. Number two, and this is more official, I would say, so we are so first and foremost, we have the Tableau. Tableau, it's our visualization tool. We have operational report inside Tableau that can actually point out what is the retention, what is the engagement, how many people actually entered, how many users do we have. It's not in terms of MAU and DAO. It's more like we see a massive growth month over month that people that actually starting to use the Tableau. That's number one. Number two, and that's a great matrix because in the end of the day, we want people, internal user, to use the data.
Mm-hmm.
Who said that they use that correctly? So we are recording videos, short videos of 5 to 7 minutes each that actually gives you best practices. And the more people ask for these videos, we actually see that they look on those videos and actually learn something fruitful from that. So it means something for us. This is number one and two. And I would say that moving forward to predictive analytics, if I may, anomaly detection, this is the tool that we have today that can actually gives you a heads up every time you have anomaly within the data. So we build a nice tool, shows you the upper boundary and the lower boundary. And the more people start using that, they actually can avoid from hiccups and tragedy. So we see that the more people buy in, there's like a trend. The more people buy in, the more incident we actually collect and prevent beforehand. And so this is super important. But we have tons of measurements, how to measure ourselves. There's a one important measure that we put called health measure. It means, but it's for the company. There's a people stack, right? I mean, when you recruit a person or when you recruit a person in a certain time, who said that the gross margin will grow in the same rate, right? So every person that you add, I call it health measurement, but you can call it whatever. It's something that we made up, right? Because in the end of the day, you added 40 people, right? If you stay static in the gross margin, means that these people are in the back. Where are they, right? But it's very average, and it's a very global one because some person can actually contribute to the top line, and some person can be in the back end like me, and he doesn't really proceed with the revenue itself. But overall, in the average, even in the median, okay, you want to understand that the more you recruit, the better you will get. And one very important and very critical measure is the gross margin. I mean, how money exactly are we creating? So this is like a big one.
The next question will be a little bit about governance and quality and trust, something that is very close to your heart and to your day-to-day work. And I want to hear the approach that you guys are having to ensuring data quality and consistency across all different teams and tools.
We have some features that we put in place. We actually wrote them, there are services. So let's start with the first one. Let's say we have the checksum. Checksum should actually ensure, as I said before, we work with 5 different platforms. If that sounds convoluted, think how convoluted the data should be inside the Snowflake, right? I mean, you must make sure we use smeared, clean, aggregate. You don't want you don't want friction inside of it, right? So basically, we have the checksum. Checksum should actually ensure that you have end-to-end data, and we call it literacy, right? And you have end-to-end data. Everything that the source creates, it's actually the destination that we put in. That's our Snowflake that we put in place. So that's number one. Number two, we have Exporter. This is the tool that we built in order to pipe the data from the source to the destination. It's something that we built in-house. Okay. The third one will be we have tons of them. So each failure point, we actually put automation in place. So in DBT, that's another tool that we apply. It's also for ELT, let's call it like that, because it's not ETL. We actually are transforming the data before, but we are piping the data and aggregating all the data, but we have failure points. In each failure point, we actually apply some automation to capture all the problems beforehand and not to continue with the data and the pipeline to the next level, because it won't, I mean, we will have like error that we are dragging all the way up, and we don't want that. So we have, and of course we have some automation in Tableau. So this is how we make sure the quality. But you asked something before, basically about the governance, and this is the most crucial one, if you ask me. Look, because we have so many sources, and it's unlike 2010 when you have only monolithic and you have certain amount of people who are actually using that. That's not the approach today. So we apply data mesh. If I need to take 5 books and only say one sentence on top of them, this is how we can actually give the person the hook and not the fish, right? I mean, we give you today the tool in order to consume the data. So it means that it's either that you are a producer or consumer or both of them. Let's take the financial sector, for example. They are the consumer and the producer because they have SAP and they're injecting data all of the time, but they also like heavily consume data, right? So they have both. It means that they need to make sure that their data assets are fine. Means that they have enough quality inside, that they don't injecting a lot of biased data or partial data, and we give them the tools to do so, right? I mean, and that's the communication that we have with them. So they know their data, right? They are the domain expert of what they have. They know each row inside the payrolls and whatever they have in the SAP, all the expenses of the OpEx itself. They know what they have. It means that they need to ensure that what they pipe to our data lake or data platform is quality. It has enough quality, has enough literacy and consistency inside, and only then they can pipe that. So in terms of governance, we actually divided all the organization into business sectors. And by that, we can actually make sure, I mean, we don't want to be the bottleneck of the organization. You see, I mean, it doesn't make sense. Every time you have penetration for a new market or something like that, you should also have analytics inside of it, like actually to recruit another analyst to maintain that. We don't need this kind of relationship. So what we did, we put governance, okay? And we divided the entire organization into business sectors. And by doing that, we actually give the people the control of what they have today. So basically, if they have SAP, there is an owner for this SAP. And every time there is a change or modification or whatever, he needs to communicate that with a person from his side, so we will be aware that that's what he has. So it works differently, but this is how we make sure and we can actually release the bottleneck from the data team. And the focus of the data team is actually to build tangible data product, understand, maintain, yes, but we don't want to give data, right? Because in the end of the day, it makes us the bottleneck of the organization, and we don't need that. We want to focus on somewhere else.
How do you see, now in this era of AI, we cannot not talk about AI. So I want to hear from you. How do you see AI tools influence data teams?
First and foremost, we have LLM and we have AI project internally that we're in charge of it. But if you ask me, it doesn't replace the data, but it's something that actually makes data much more efficient, right? So let's take the case, for example, of multi-channel and omni-channel, okay?
Okay.
Today, if you have multi-channel, you see the data in certain channels and you want to get near real-time decision, you can actually make it much more efficient with AI, right? Because you can actually make the personalization of the end user, and you can do that much more efficient, right? That's number one. So if you ask me, it doesn't replace anything, but it makes data much more interactive. So I can give you one feature that we use internally called Cortex. This is one of the features from the Snowflake. It can actually gives you a nice interface, and you can ask questions on top of the data, and you need to declare that, yes, and you have to have the semantic layer in place and everything. But in the end of the day, it looks like people want things that are more interactive. I see that as something that can actually make data much more efficient. I don't see how it replaces the data itself, because in the end of the day, we always come back to data management. Data management, that's the key of everything. You don't want to train a module, machine learning, engine, or even LLM on top of something broken, because it's all neural network, okay? Neural network, it's something that you build in like on top of that. If you don't have the data categorize, segment, nice, like with a good quality, with efficiency, you won't have not like a good LLM. You will get like, garbage in, garbage out, and you don't want that, right? So it's not something that will replace. It's more something that we need to have on top of that. And we see that in each and every use case. So you asked about the culture. Look, we have data in place, okay? So we're always chasing for innovation. And I think in the end of the day, because we are chasing innovation and we want to have processes and the data will be much more interactive and efficient. This is where we want to be, okay? So in terms of culture, we cannot afford not to, okay? Because you will find yourself dragging behind, and in the end of the day, that's the name of the game. You want to apply things and you want to do that quickly, all right? You can adjust afterward. That's not a problem, right? But as long as you set a footprint inside your data lake, or like your DBT, for example, has a nice feature. So we always put ourselves in the early adapter sector. If we don't want the semantic layer, if we don't want this feature, fine. But at least we gave it a chance. That's what I always put in the sprint. 20% for innovation.
Okay.
Means that let's chase new features.
What are the emerging challenges or opportunities that you see for data team in the next couple of years?
There are many, to be fair. So first of all, they have to adopt open mindset, right? The worst case scenario for data engineers is actually to fall in love. We spoke about that briefly before, to fall in love with a certain solution or service or something that they have built, because in the end of the day, it will become a legacy, right? And and after 5 years, or even today, a year time, it will become a legacy. The worst case scenario is to fall in love with a certain solution. So what I'm saying to people, open your mind. Like growing mindset means that instead of having fixed mindset, you are adjusting your mind to love what you build, but always to chase how to improve that, right? This is a growing mindset, and not to fall in love with a certain solution or product, because in the end of the day, it will become a legacy. A company can acquire you, you can be acquired by someone. I mean, things are moving fast and you have to adapt. You have to adjust. I'm sorry. You have to adjust. And in the end of the day, today, the fact that we have a nice orchestration of data doesn't mean anything about the future, right? Today it's good enough for the company. Today it's good enough, but we're already chasing, right? How can we improve the anomaly detection? How can we make it faster? How can we have even near real time, like even closer to near to real time solutions, things like that. So what I'm saying to people is that it's good that you chase innovation on the one hand, but leave a room always to hear and to understand more things.
What is the challenge right now that data leaders have with management, with CEOs, with CFOs? What do you think the main challenges that they facing these days?
So I actually speak about that a lot. It's very hard to justify a budget for data. Look, in the end of the day, everything that we said before, when you are in a meeting of let's divide the cake into pieces, and which piece data should get, this piece or this piece, because it's very hard to justify. And what is the ROI of a report, right? I mean, how can, if you are from operation and you look in a certain report and you got an amazing decision, and this is why the company gained in after a week $2,000 million, it was because of you or because of the report? We don't know. And this is why and no one will say, oh wow, I got an amazing report, and this is what this is. It doesn't go like that, right? So in the end of the day, it's very hard to justify. What we can do is actually to roll the budget on to the department themselves. This is what mesh is been doing. It means that the more you consume, the more you pay. It's amazing, but let's actually align that with the budget of the certain department. Okay, so it means that if you from finance, as Lee said before, and you want a nice view of your balance, FP&A, whatever, okay, amazing. So I will give that to you, okay. But if you use that every day, or you have certain amount of people that use that every day, it means that you are consuming data. And if I want to be fair, this is the amount today. Using the Seymour data, the Seymour data UI, I can actually align the budget itself to the department. It means that on top of the Snowflake, we have a nice view called Seymour data, and we can actually align the budget to each one of the department. Means that if you consume more than usual, okay, you will pay. And then if I need now to justify that in front of the CEO or the board members or whatever it is, so I can actually open the nice UI. I can even show them the nice UI that I got, and to show them how the distribution has been going, right? I mean, how many people consume what and why, right? If now they want to control that internally, they will take that internally and they will reduce that. But in the end of the day, this is the amount that I'm getting from that I need for the storage. This is the amount that I need for innovation. But all the others, this is pure consumption, right? So it's easy today to justify, and today I'm in a position that I can easily say where my budget is going to, right? I mean, how things been spreaded over the year, over the months, and over the week. And this is very powerful for me when I can actually control the budget and not the budget controlling me like it was before.
What is the top tip you can provide to data leaders?
Do not fall in love with a certain solution. This is very important. I see that over time. And even more important, take care of your data management. Data management has 10 simple principles, okay? We're talking about that in the Dharma wheel. The Dharma, it's a data management book of knowledge. This is like a set of books that each one of them represent a certain principle. One of them is architecture, but if you go by these books, okay, and this is why data governance is in the middle, because that's the enabler of everything. But if you go by this wheel and you make sure your data management is in place, you have it all. You can train modules, you can have LLM, you can. So if I need to provide one tip for the future, I would say take care of your data management. Make sure and invest in that, because because it will circle back to you in the end of the day. So that's what I would say.